Hello and welcome to Bigskybits. I'm your host Colby, and today we'll be looking over the wonderful world of Bitcoin and seeing what trouble it's getting into today. As the title stated, your Bitcoin is not safe. In the news, Amaranth, a popular streamer, podcaster, OnlyFans person, she was the target of a Bitcoin heist. This woman has made a lot of money. I heard some estimates saying she's made like $57 million or more off her influencing career, if that's what you want to call it. But regardless, she's made quite a substantial sum, and I guess a little bit ago, she posted on one of her videos an account holding 20 million in Bitcoin. That is an enormous amount. And with anything with such a huge honeypot or target on her back, she was assaulted by 3 armed men who assaulted her and tried to get her Bitcoin from her as she led them to another building, it looked like from the video I saw. She was able to... this is a picture of her. She was able to grab a gun and shoot one of the attackers, which sent them all fleeing out of the house. There's videos online showing the whole thing. It's definitely an interesting thing, and it goes back to the point that you need to learn how to actually hide and store your Bitcoin, or how to use multi-sig so there's multiple parties involved. And I think as awareness of how Bitcoin works, these robberies will slow down, because for most people, it's not an easy target. It's not like I can just go grab your Bitcoin. Most people are using secure methods and have it custodied in such a way that it's as hard to get out as a stock, but maybe as easy to move. There's different varying degrees of how people secure their money, and how they might have a hot wallet or a trading wallet with a small percentage of their money to do more transactions on a daily basis, while a large majority might be hidden a way that needs multiple actors or multiple signatures to release the Bitcoin. There's tons of ways to do this. And I think we're just at the beginning of people really getting into more of the security measures. I hope for her sake she stays safe. I know Houston can be a dangerous place. And with that, let's move on to the price, because that's what most people are interested in. And the price has been hovering kind of around this 90,000. We had a little bit of an uptick, and it was looking all right earlier in the day. And then some downward volatility again, went below 90,000, which I was a little disappointed with. I thought we would stay above that, but here we are. We really need to trend above this and get above this 95 area. It's still not looking good the further we zoom out on the charts. Hopefully this was the bottom and we are starting to make a new trajectory up. This last little bit looks somewhat promising, but time will tell. A lot of the news is waiting on the digital summit with Trump and all these crypto leaders that's going to happen tomorrow. Now, I am in the boat with a lot of other people that think it's going to be a more sell the news event. Now, I have seen some tweets that Trump's predicting something monumental or some big announcement might be made. If this is the first meeting of all these big heads, I predict it's more of just a preliminary or precursor to a strategic announcement. Now, I could be wrong, and there could have been some deals in the background, and we will see. Now, I have heard some rumorings of 2 separate reserves for the U.S. to hold. One that would be mainly Bitcoin, and one that would be other crypto assets. I like the idea of separating the two, because Bitcoin is not like these other assets. Bitcoin, in fact, is trying to undermine many of these other assets. So, depending on what side of the coin you're on, you can see these reserves as being a different positive or a different negative. So with that, I think tomorrow's going to most likely be a big nothing burger, but the volatility, as we've seen, is increasing, and tomorrow could be a very volatile day. Now, on the point of volatility increasing, before we see any major moves up or down, often before that, we start seeing quite a bit of price volatility. And as you've seen recently, I mean, we have been seeing some major dumps. Like just out on this 3-month chart, we go from 105 all the way down to below 95. So $10,000 dip. All the way back from a low of 92 to 102, $10,000 raise. So we're seeing all this is even huger, way bigger. This is 91 to 105. I mean, we're seeing that's $15,000, $20,000 rises and dips over spans. And we're seeing this increased volatility. I mean, this last candle of from 85 to 95 and then back down, clearing a lot of the longs and shorts in the market. But this volatility really is a precursor to huge moves. It has to get the market somewhat scared so people don't have these insane long or short positions. And then the market will usually strike and catch everyone off guard. So we're going to have to just wait and see what the market predicts. But to be honest, if I was to give my plan, I see a few more months of kind of this trading sideways unless we hear some fundamental news. Like if Russia start buying copious amounts, or the Middle East starts buying copious amounts, or China reverses stance and starts investing largely into Bitcoin, we could see huge run-ups. So on that note, we just kind of got to pay attention. Hopefully you're invested to some degree. Hopefully you're looking at this in a fundamental way and not just as a get-rich-quick scheme, but as perhaps even an insurance plan or a policy in case the U.S. doesn't do as well. So there's different ways to view what Bitcoin can mean to you or provide to you, whether it's an investment portfolio or whether it's an ideology like I have, that I think this can help make the world a better place. So moving on from that, I'll move to some of the anecdotal evidence I've seen that Bitcoin is becoming more popular. Recently, out and about in the town, going either to my gym in Hot Springs or talking with people, the last month I've been seeing a huge resurgence in interest in Bitcoin. I've had quite a few people call me about what I think the market's going to do in the short term, or ideas about how they can integrate Bitcoin into their companies. I already know of a painting company, a landscaping company that are holding Bitcoin, and now a huge rental company was considering using Bitcoin for rent. And though very few of their tenants might ever do this, I have already been approached because I'm in the property management business. I have already been approached by a tenant that was interested in paying Bitcoin. So for many of you, I know you don't use Bitcoin, but for other people, especially people from other parts of the globe, people use it on a semi-regular basis. Now, those numbers are very small, and I understand that, but people do use Bitcoin beyond just a store of value. So with that, I've just seen some of this anecdotal evidence increasing lately, and it makes me feel good. It feels like the retail sector is finally starting to pay attention again. FOMO's building up there, with the executive branch continually talking about it and others high in politics continually talking about it. I think we're just starting to reach that fever. Soon the news stations, well, you're already seeing it all over most of the financial news, but a lot more of the mainstream news is starting to touch on it, sometimes in negative light ways. A lot of people are concerned where money would come from to invest in such a strategic reserve. And I mean, those are valid concerns, but I think they do raise a whole other topic of debate that we could talk about some other day, is should a strategic reserve even be the goal of a government? And I would probably argue that it shouldn't be. Though this will help the space, I believe, I don't know if that's the role of a government. And we could get into that debate if people are interested. If not, we will just move on to one of our last topics. Let's see if I had this. Yes, it looks like Texas Senate has passed their reserve bill 25-5, so quite a big majority. Texas has not still passed it completely. It has to go through the House for the final vote and then ratified, I'm sure, by the governor. But this is a huge step in the right direction. If you look at Texas, I believe people were saying in the comments, worldwide it'd be considered one of the largest economies. No, I'm not seeing it anywhere quickly on these comments. But I remember looking at it at some point and people were commenting how Texas is one of the world's largest economies. It'd be about the size of France if we looked at it GDP-wise. And I think that's interesting, but it's also interesting that such a large state would consider it. And then I guess I was looking at some of the arguments made on the Senate floor as to why Bitcoin would be good for the state of Texas to invest in. And you should go do your own research and look at these arguments, but a lot of them ring very true. And it goes to some of the fear people are feeling about the current situation with regards to the US dollar and the US dominance in a global capacity. So, with that, another good bit of news just added to the pile of Bitcoin's slow domination over our current financial system. So, let's see. There's one other article I wanted to talk about, but I am not seeing it on here. Maybe I had it over on Primal or Nostra. Again, check out Nostra or one of the iterations going through. Like, this is Primal's way of displaying it, and it's a great display. It allows you, it feels a lot like Twitter or X. Very similar feel to it, but great format, good content, a lot of, I mean, as it gets more popular, a lot more memes and a lot more just cultural stuff. But it's good, and you can tip people with Bitcoin over the Lightning Network. You can support creators. It's an interesting concept. So check it out. Moving on to X, maybe this was where it was. Yeah, some people are saying he's going to sign an executive order tomorrow. I'm highly skeptical of that. And with that, we'll end this show, but I did have one point to make. A lot of people are worried about the smaller individual getting Bitcoin. Now, the average individual that's working day to day that can barely afford dinner that day or getting to different events or their life is enough of a struggle, they're not concerned with Bitcoin. Their life is very hectic. They have a lot to worry about, and Bitcoin just most likely is not at the top of their list. Now, you could argue maybe it should be. Maybe that would help their situation. Totally other argument. But the average person, I believe, we're going to see the distribution of Bitcoin as people start getting paid in it. A lot of these big companies are going to start accepting it, and you'll see different investors start investing in it. And this trickle down to a global society, this isn't going to come quick. This is something that's going to take most likely 100 years. I mean, it's not going to happen in my lifetime and most likely won't happen in yours. Now, on the ride up, will the value between this hard asset and the fiat bullshit that we're using today probably change and the harder asset gets more valuable, making purchasing of things easier for you? Most likely. But that is not the end goal. And I don't think that was ever the goal of Bitcoin. It is to fundamentally change the system. So with that, go do some research, learn more about Bitcoin. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. Show me a little love, and I hope you enjoy your day.